What's going on, everybody? Ep73 back with the Double E Show. It's Lamplight City. So when we left off last week, we had spoken to Gerard, and he gave us a tip, I believe, about a serving girl at the Red Coffee House. So,
Excuse me, Gerard?
I want to see if there's anything else I can ask him about.
Do you normally work in construction?
Mostly. Sometimes I be doing other jobs here and there. But I'm lucky to have gotten this job. I think it will keep me in work for a long time. Which is good, because I have 3 mouths to feed at home.
Be sure to watch yourself, then. I hear these types of jobs can be dangerous.
Oh, believe me, I know. One slip up and bam! That's the end of you. But I always watch myself.
Thank you, Gerard. I appreciate the information.
Not a problem, boss.
All right. Yep. So, let's go to the coffee house.
Self-Portrait as a Desperate Man by B. Calvert. A bit like looking in the mirror, isn't it, Miles?
Right.
You heard about the murderer? The justice killer? Hey, you know, the froth on my beer isn't dripping down this cup. I don't think they washed it. No, one more for me. Yeah.
All right. So,
Begging your pardon, miss.
How can I help you, sir?
I understand you were involved with Ennis Bowditch.
Was involved, yes. I haven't spoken to him in nearly 2 months.
Oh, were you not aware of his death, then?
What? Ennis is dead?
Well, this is awkward.
Indeed. I'm sorry to have to be the bearer of bad news.
How did it happen?
I'm afraid he was murdered.
Murdered? By who? And why?
Those are exactly the questions I'm trying to answer myself.
Oh, I see. Are you a detective?
A private investigator, yes.
Well, I'll answer what I can. If it helps any, that is.
I'm certain it will.
okay.
What was your relationship with Mr. Bowditch like?
Oh, well, it was nice at first. He was a proper gentleman-like. But then something changed.
Oh?
It's like I told Ruby. I think he might have got hit on the head at work, because he seemed to be a completely different person. He'd get angry for no reason.
Ruby, huh?
He even... Well, that bit's not important. At first, I thought he was just going through some rough times, but after a while I realized he'd changed for the worse. So I broke things off. He wasn't too happy about it, but I wasn't going to stick with a man like that.
Right?
This friend of yours, Ruby, did she know an MP named Percival McDonough?
I'm not sure. Ruby knows a lot of men.
Is that so?
Well, no, I don't mean... It's just... Oh, damn it all, me and my big mouth. She'll have my guts for garters now.
It's all right. No one's in trouble. But I think I'd like to speak with Ruby. Could you tell me where I can find her?
No. You see, she moves around quite a lot. Never in the same place for more than a night or two.
Right. I think she's given us a clear picture of what Ruby does for a living. Normally, I'd be all for pressing this girl more until she cracks, but I like her. I think we'll be able to find Ruby without causing her more discomfiture.
Right.
Well, thank you for the information. You've been very helpful.
Okay. Well,
Are you familiar with the Justice Killer?
Justice killer? Is that some kind of pesticide?
No, it isn't. Never mind.
Okay.
I'll let you get back to work.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. On a map here. Go to the apartment.
Apartment 2A. This is the place. The number is a bit faded. Is this 2B or is it not 2B? That's the question.
Okay.
There doesn't seem to be anyone at home.
See if the neighbor knows anything.
Yeah? May I help you, young man?
Hello, madam. My name is Miles Fordham, and I'm a private investigator. I have some questions about your neighbor.
You mean my former neighbor?
Yes. In any case, I'd appreciate it if you could help me with some information.
Nah, I don't think so. The last person to ask me about him was that awful policeman. I don't want to have to go through that again.
I'm sorry you had a bad experience, but I can assure you I won't give you a hard time.
Well, that's easy for you to say. But actions speak louder than words.
Uh-oh. I think I know where this is going.
Is there anything I can do for you then?
Well, since you asked, my layabout husband is out wasting our retirement fund with his drinking. Go find him and bring him back here. Then maybe we can talk.
Oh, wonderful. Now we're playing babysitter.
You'll find him at the Silent Raven. It's not too far from here.
Yes, I know it.
Good. My husband's name is Kurt Williamson. You tell him his wife Ethel wants him home at once.
I'll do my best, Mrs. Williamson.
Okay. Well, looks like we're going to the Silent Raven.
Been pretty quiet in the streets of late, hasn't it, Bertie?
You noticed too? I thought it was just me.
I'm not complaining, mind you. It's nice to be able to go out and about without stepping over half the chum in the process.
Indeed. What do you reckon's the reason for it?
Not a clue. Can't be illness. We'd have heard something by now. Whatever it is, let's just hope it keeps up. I never thought I'd see that bridge finished in my lifetime.
I know. Who'd have thought?
They're saying it might even be done by the end of this decade.
Bet you're looking forward to spending more time in Gascoigne. Eh, Rose?
God, no. I wouldn't be caught dead there. Nothing but a bunch of thieves and drunk sailors. I'm just looking forward to not getting seasick any time I need to cross the river. We just went on without him. Because, of course...
Excuse
it
me,
was gonna
barmaid?
happen anyway.
Hi, what do you need?
Do you know anything about the man sitting at that table over there?
Not really. He comes in here a few times a week, but he mostly keeps to himself. I see his type all the time, though. Older, probably retired and looking to escape his home life. I feel sorry for him, but that sort of customer is my bread and butter.
How are things here now that the election hubbub has subsided?
Oh, right. I thought you looked familiar. You were the one in here asking about the fellow who was killed.
That's right.
Well, there hasn't been too much excitement since then. I've hardly had to toss anyone out, which is a right shame.
Why's that?
Kicking out a rowdy customer shakes things up a bit on a quiet night like this. Gets the blood flowing, you know?
What would a customer have to do to warrant being thrown out?
My general rule is if they're being a nuisance, they're out. If they try to pick a fight or are just being generally disrespectful, it's a one-way ticket to the pavement outside.
Good to know.
Okay.
What was it you said?
Pick a fight or just be bothersome enough that other customers complain about him.
Right. Thanks. What was it you said a person had to do to get thrown out?
Pick a fight or just be bothersome enough that other customers complain about him.
Right. Thanks.
Okay. All right.
I appreciate you taking the time to chat.
Yeah.
Excuse me, are you Kurt Williamson?
That's right. Who are you?
Miles Fordham. I'm a private investigator.
Oh, yeah? What is it you want from me?
Ethel sent me to tell you she wants you to come home right away.
I should have known. I can't get away for more than a few hours before she's put the entire city on high alert. How much of my retirement fund did she waste on getting you to come down here?
I'm only doing this because I need some information.
The joke's on you, then. You can just go back and tell her I'll come home when I'm damn well ready.
Why is it you're so averse to returning home?
I enjoy going out and having a good time. Is that so wrong?
Your wife told me she doesn't like you spending your money on drink.
What I spend my money on is none of her business, and even less of yours. What's this world coming to when a man can't even drink in peace without all his affairs shouted from the rooftops?
You know, this whole situation seems awfully familiar.
Listen, Mr. Williamson, I think I know what you're going through.
Oh, yeah?
My wife and I were having a rough patch. I wasn't being honest with her, and it nearly drove us apart.
But you managed to fix things.
Yes, I was fortunate. I did the right thing before it was too late.
And what did you do?
Let's see. I think we'll go with this one here. I'm not going to talk about my dead partner with this joke.
It was simple. I just communicated honestly and openly with her. I told her what was wrong and how I was feeling. And you know what? She listened. Have you ever told Ethel why you like going out?
No. I assumed she wouldn't understand. I really wish she would come out with me, but I know she'd never agree.
How do you know? Have you actually talked to her about this?
Well, no.
Well, then maybe you should. If she knew you wanted company, she might just give it a try.
You know, I never thought of it like that. I'm going to go home right now and tell her. And if she refuses, well, at least I asked, right?
Right.
That's the spirit.
Thanks for the advice, friend. I really do appreciate it.
Not bad. I have to say, I'm impressed.
Right? Okay. So let's go back to,
Ah, Mr. Fordham, thank you so much for getting Kurt back home.
Don't mention it. Now, would you be willing to answer some questions?
Well, yes, of course.
Tell me what you know about Burley Cause.
He and his wife hadn't been living next door very long, maybe 4 months or so. But I didn't talk to either of them very much. They weren't interested in being neighborly, I guess. It's a shame, really. Maybe if we had known one another better, something like this could have been prevented.
What happened on the day Mr. Cause was killed?
I was here, at home, doing my knitting as usual. All of a sudden, I heard a loud bang. It sounded like a gunshot. I went and knocked on Mrs. Cause's door, but there was no answer. I did notice a smell, though, like flowers. Something seemed wrong, so I decided to report the incident to the police. Not long after that, an officer showed up and started asking questions. Awful man he was, so rude. I could report him, but I forgot his name. I think it started with a P.
Parsons?
Yes, that's him. He called for some more officers, and they got into the apartment. That's when I found out Mr. Cause had been murdered.
Where is Mrs. Cause now?
I don't know, with her mother, maybe. That's usually how it goes.
You wouldn't happen to know where that is, would you?
Afraid not, but there is one other thing.
Yes?
Don't say I told you this, but Well, I used to hear the two of them through my wall. I tried ignoring it since it's really none of my business, but it became impossible.
What was it you heard?
I don't believe they had a happy marriage. They'd have awful fights a couple times a week.
What would they fight about?
Oh, all sorts of things. The worst one was when she discovered he was going to a brothel. I think he might have hit her on a few occasions, too, but it can't be certain. I hope you don't think me a horrible old gossip, but I thought you might like to know.
Not at all. I'm glad you told me. Are you familiar with the Justice Killer?
You mean the serial killer who's been killing men in Chumley?
That's the one.
Nah, never heard of him.
What?
I'm just pulling your leg, Mr. Fordham.
I like this one. She's got spirit.
Unfortunately, I only know what I've read in the Gazette, but it's scary to think some maniac is loose on the streets doing such terrible things. And with Kurt going out by himself for hours at a time, oh, I don't like it one bit.
How long have you been living here?
Well, Kurt and I moved in shortly after we were married, so it's been about 34 years.
Goodness, that's a long time to be living in one place.
Yes, well, the building may be a bit run down, and it gets colder than cold in the winter, but the rent has always been cheap. You can't really ask for much more than that.
I appreciate your time, Mrs. Williamson.
Have a good day, Mr. Fordham.
Right on.
There doesn't seem to be anyone at home.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. All right. So, let's see. If I go to casebook, I gotta find out about these Redites for sure. Burley causing his wife would have frequent argument. She suspects he became violent and hit her on a few occasions. Okay. Alright, let's see, where to next? We could go to the police station and ask if Snelling knows anything about the Redites.
Chief Snelling?
Yes, Fordham?
Have you got any information on the Redites?
The Redites? That ridiculous gang of troublemakers? Yes, I have some information. What's your interest in them?
A witness is refusing to speak with me unless I can figure out who sabotaged his iron mill.
I see. All I can offer is a list of names of known Redites along with their last known whereabouts. But I remind you that you only have until tomorrow afternoon before this indulgence expires, and I throw you in jail. This seems like a waste of time.
That's my decision to make.
Very well. I'll give you the list when you're ready to leave.
I need to get back to my investigation.
Yes. Time is not on your side, Fordham. Here you are. This is the most recent list of known Redites.
Redite activists, 1840.
This is a lot of names.
1844.
If we're going to track down this saboteur, it might be best to retire to a more tranquil environment. Fancy a trip back to Upton's?
Yeah. Let's go to Upton's apartment.
Right. This should be a quiet enough spot to concentrate on finding that saboteur. I just hope Upton doesn't mind you turning her parlor into your own personal study.
I'm sure she'll have no objection. Now, let's have a look at that list again.
Okay.
I think we can rule out Mr. Sullivan as a suspect. He's Western Vespuccia's problem now.
Okay.
Unless Mr. McKee has escaped from prison, which I highly doubt, he's not our man. Paris Wilson. Those initials don't match the ones on the letter. I don't think this is our suspect. If dead men could cause explosions, let's just say things would be a lot different. This clearly isn't the right suspect.
Right.
Peyton Ferguson. The initials match those on the letter we got at the Lamplight Depot.
I'd say it's our best bet.
Lucian Donaldson. Those initials don't match the ones on the letter. I don't think this person is our suspect.
All right. So, Peyton Ferguson, suspect in 6 instances of sabotage. Elkate, last known whereabouts, 19 St. Louis Road in Gascon. Okay. Where are we here? Let's go to casebook. List of best contemplate in a private, quiet place. Okay, got that. Okay. Yeah. Close. That it? Okay, so let's go to map. Peyton Ferguson. That's Lucian Donaldson's, Paris Wilson's, Peyton Ferguson's residence. Okay.
Well, well. Who's this lovely specimen?
Allow me to introduce Peyton Ferguson, known Redite and prime suspect in a sabotage at the Thorbom Ironworks. I picked him up and brought him straight to you.
Ooh, a saboteur. Just leave him to me and I'll make him feel right at home.
Please find the Justice Killer soon, Miles. Being Giles' prisoner is not my idea of a good time.
Right. I'll leave you to it then.
Okay. So, now we should go back to the ironworks. Talk to Mims.
Mr. Mims, a word if you wouldn't mind?
Yes, what is it?
I found the person responsible for sabotaging your iron mill.
Oh, yeah?
His name is Peyton Ferguson. He's currently at the Bow Street Jail.
Hey, not bad. I owe you one, Detective.
He certainly does.
What can you tell me about Hannibal Kirkland?
Good worker. Mostly kept to himself. Real shame what happened to him.
You said Kirkland was a good worker?
One of my best. I knew something was up when he didn't show up for a couple of days. Don't think he'd ever missed work before.
Did he have any personal effects he kept here, or an area where he worked?
He had a cabinet downstairs in the workers' changing area, just like everyone else. You can go take a look if you want, but I don't think the police found anything. Kirkland's cabinet is the third one from the left.
Okay.
Do you know if anyone here disliked Kirkland?
Enough to want him dead? Nah. There's the occasional scrap, but everyone around here gets along for the most part. Like I said, he mostly kept to himself. Head down, didn't bother nobody.
Do you know what he did outside of work?
No idea. I only ever saw him here.
Okay.
I'll be going now.
Be careful on your way out.
Okay, so... Kirkland's cabinet. Anything else to look at?
At least having a heater down here manages to keep things warm. I remember the changing rooms at the police station were always ice cold.
Gents, please stop shaving in the showers. The cleaning lady almost tore my head off. She says the drains can't take all the hair. Okay. Look at Mim's locker. Okay.
Mr. Mims, a word if you wouldn't mind?
Yes, what is it?
Would you happen to know the combination to Hannibal Kirkland's cabinet?
No. Every worker sets their own combination, and I don't ask for it.
What happens if they were to forget it?
Well, have them come up with some sort of personal reminder and keep those in a file.
And do you still have Kirkland's?
I'll give it to you as soon as we're done talking.
I'll be going now.
Be careful on your way out. There you go. You're lucky I only clean out my files at the end of the year.
See, I always told you I wasn't disorganized. Just preparing for the future.
Okay. The shipwreck, the red and white, the sign, Kirkland. I see something. Ah, okay. So there's a 1 there. Right. There's a 6 on the shipwreck. And then there was a number here. So 160? Okay, so the shipwreck is 6. Red and white is 1. Yeah, there you go.
Empty. That's disappointing.
Not completely empty. There's something at the bottom here.
The Gilded Lily, 12 refined ladies in waiting. All sizes, petite, skinny, buxom, special. Present this handbill and 50 shillings for the normal 1 crown treat. 459 Petticoat Lane, Chumley. Welcome.
It seems our friend Hannibal had a few extracurricular activities after all.
Gilded Lily, huh? That's a bit suspicious.
Who knew such a pretty flower could cause such an inconvenience? The answer to that question is me, in case you were wondering. Flowers bring nothing but trouble. Trouble and snot.
That's enough, Bill. We need to get a move on.
All right, so I assume we go to the Gilded Lily. So let's go out here. And the Gilded Lily. Okay.
Well, hello there, handsome. Welcome to the Gilded Lily. Come over here and tell me what kind of pleasure it is you're looking for.
I'm afraid I'm here for business, not pleasure.
Oh, well, that's just a shame, isn't it?
I'm Miles Fordham, private investigator. And you are?
You can call me Serafina. I'm in charge of this establishment.
You won't mind if I take a look around or ask you some questions?
As long as you keep to the front room, you can do whatever you like. Beyond that, you're gonna have to pay.
Maybe it's best if you leave this part out when you tell Adelaide about the case later.
Right on. Okay.
May I ask you a few questions, Serafina?
Of course you may, but I can't guarantee the answers will be free.
Did you have a man named Hannibal Kirkland as a client?
I make it my practice not to learn the names of any customers here, Mr. Fordham. I hate to disappoint anyone who comes through those doors, but discretion is paramount in this business.
Well, at least you know you can trust these women with your secrets.
Okay.
Do you by chance have a girl named Ruby in your service?
Ruby? Yes, she's one of our newest girls. She's not in any sort of trouble, is she?
Not at all. I merely wanted to speak with her.
Well, she should be in the dressing room. If you go through the rear door and follow the hallway down, it's the last door on the left.
I see. Thank you. This is a lovely establishment you have, and such a nice name, too.
Thank you, my dear. It wasn't always called the Gilded Lily, though. We were formerly known as Le Maison de Tolérance.
What inspired the name change?
that's a bit of a long story. Not worth getting into.
How long have you been operating?
Going on 25 years. Business has been good. There's a reason this is the world's oldest profession, you know.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Thank you for your time.
Of course, my dear.
Okay, so go to the dressing room and find Ruby.
Oh, hello. Did Serafina send you back here for me?
Yes, but not for the usual reasons. I'm a private investigator. My name is Miles Fordham. Ruby, I presume?
Yes, that's right. What do you need from me?
Just some information.
Well, I'll do my best.
Okay.
Lily, 1809 to 1843. I wonder what happened to her.
Right?
That's a nice locket for being such a cheap piece of jewelry.
Okay. Okay.
So, Ruby,
Yes?
did you ever have a client named Hannibal Kirkland?
No, that name doesn't sound familiar. Sorry.
Okay.
Do you know Ennis Bowditch?
Bowditch? Didn't think I'd be hearing that name again.
As I understand it, he was seeing your friend, the serving girl at the ruined coffee house.
Yeah, that's right. Annabelle. She broke things off with him a while ago, though.
So she said. Did you ever know him to be violent?
Violent? The bastard nearly beat Annabelle's brains in once. Why do you think she chucked him?
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
At least she had the good sense to get rid of him.
Perhaps we should go confirm this newly discovered fact with Annabelle.
Did you ever meet a man named Burley Cause?
No, I never met him, but one of the other girls had him as a client. I remember because she was laughing about his name. He wasn't very burly, if you get my meaning.
Right. Are you familiar with Reggie Willingham?
Oh, him? He had to be banned from here.
Really? What happened?
He got way too rough with one of the girls. She ended up shy a few teeth.
Dear Lord.
Yeah, apparently he wasn't too fond of boundaries. Good riddance to him, I say.
Were you aware that Mr. Willingham was murdered?
What? Oh, well, now I feel terrible for saying good riddance. I meant...
I think I know what you meant, Ruby. It's fine.
Is it me, or is there a pattern starting to emerge here?
Yeah. Like a lot of these people dying.
You met
are
recently with Percival
abusive.
McDonough, is that right?
How did you know that? I thought he was meant to keep those sorts of things private.
He had your name written down in his calendar.
And you found me here based on that?
Well, I am a detective.
Suppose that's true. Anyway, yes. I only met him the one time. There wasn't anything remarkable about him. After we finished, he got all emotional about his wife, but I could hardly understand what he was saying. I hate it when they cry afterwards.
Right?
That's a rather nice portrait. Who's the subject?
Oh, that's Lily. Before my time. Serafina knows loads about her. Even changed the name of this place in her honor. You might try asking her if you want to know more.
Okay.
I'll just leave you to it then.
Thanks, love.
All right, let's actually ask her about Lily.
May I ask you a few questions, Serafina?
Of course you may, but I can't guarantee the answers will be free.
Could you tell me about the young lady in the portrait hanging in the back room?
Ah, that's Lily Peterson. She was a wonderful woman and a great friend.
What happened to her?
It's a rather tragic story, Mr. Fordham. I'd rather not go into too much detail. The short version is this. She was with a client who got very carried away. She was able to defend herself enough to mortally wound the bastard, but the damage had already been done. The girls and I decided among us that we would rename this establishment in her honor. Some days it's still hard to believe she's gone. I haven't even been able to get rid of her box of things.
I'm very sorry for your loss, Serafina.
Thank you, dear. It was especially awful given Lily's past. Her sister died at the hands of her own husband some 16 years before. Some people just can't escape tragedy, no matter how far they run.
Huh. Something tells me these deaths are significant. It might be a good idea to learn as much as we can about Lily Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know Percival McDonough?
The politician? I knew who he was, but never met him personally.
He was seeing Ruby, wasn't he?
Not regularly, no. In fact, his first and only visit with her was yesterday.
Were you aware that he was murdered shortly after that?
I had no idea. How terrible.
Yes, it is terrible. This means she's lost a potential repeat customer.
Do you know anything about the Justice Killer?
I'm afraid not, dear. I don't normally associate with killers.
Are you sure you don't know anything? He's the reason I'm here.
Well, I can assure you I know nothing about your murderer. If the trail has led you here, it's surely just coincidence.
Yeah, she seems awfully certain of that. It's a good thing we don't believe in coincidences.
Right?
So, how did you get into this business?
Like many of the other girls, it was the best of some bad options. I had no interest in being beholden to a husband. I may be a fallen woman, but better to fly and fall than to have your wings clipped.
Do you enjoy the work?
It's a job like any other, Mr. Fordham. There are good days and there are bad days. But my girls are my family. We take care of each other. I couldn't ask for anything better.
Thank you for your time.
Of course, my dear.
See if Ruby knows about these belongings of Lily's.
So, Ruby.
Yes?
Serafina told me that Lily's possessions are still here. Do you know where they're kept?
Yeah, in that cabinet over there. Lily had a special place in Serafina's heart. I don't think she has the nerve to get rid of this stuff yet.
Do you think I could take a look through it?
Oh, I don't know.
Serafina never has to know. I promise I'll only look, not touch.
If I had a crown for every time I'd heard that. But, all right. As long as you keep your word and don't take anything from the box, I'll let you have a look. I'll get it for you after.
How long have you been in this business?
Only a few months now. Used to work at a kitchen, but then they brought in some of those new automated machines.
A sadly familiar story.
At least this profession isn't in any danger of being made obsolete by steam tech. Cold steel can never replace a warm touch.
Let's just hope that's true.
Have you heard of the Justice Killer?
No, I don't believe so.
He's a serial murderer who's killed 5 victims, mostly men from Chumley.
Oh dear, that sounds dreadful. Is that what you're investigating?
It is. Do you know anyone who might have some information about him?
I don't. Sorry I can't be more help.
I'll just leave you to it then.
Thanks, love.
Okay.
There you go. All yours for the browsing.
Alright.
I'm guessing this is where most of the girls keep their personal belongings. Doesn't seem to offer much in the way of privacy.
Let's see.
Let's see what we have in here.
Dear Miss Peterson, while it is unorthodox practice for a detective to maintain contact with the relatives of a victim after the case has been closed, your story has touched me on a deeper level. Please let me know if there is anything I can do to help you this difficult time. It must be during this difficult time. I understand you have decided to take it upon yourself to raise your sister's son. And for that I commend and respect your strength of will. Again, do not hesitate to contact me if there is anything I can do to help. Detective Lester Barnett. Excuse me. So these buttons are interesting. So
one of 3 buttons with an engraved lily on it. I wonder if they're just decorative or if they have some other purpose.
Right? Casebook. Rolled up paper. 313213. 3132. 3132213. Well, would you look at that?
Well now, I think we just found ourselves a bonanza.
Aunt Lily, I tried, God knows I tried, but I couldn't let that bastard get away with his crime. I refused to watch you suffer the same fate as Mother. Justice had to be done. I've snuffed out his life just as he tried to choke yours out of your body. The blood that stains this letter is his. Holy crap. As I write this, you're in a hospital bed, unconscious. I don't know if I'll ever be able to speak with you again, but I am placing this letter in your secret place in the hope that you will someday be able to read it. In the meantime, I have discovered my true calling. I must dispense justice to those who harm innocent women. I have seen the cycle of violence go on for far too long. I have lost both my mother and my aunt to violent men, and I must stop this from happening again. I spoke with Gloria, and she told me she had been violated by one of her clients, an ironworker named Hannibal Kirkland. I will observe his habits until the time is right to strike. After he is taken care of, I will find others and do the same until this wretched city is scrubbed clean. I need to send a message. Love to you always, I think. Okay.
May I ask you a few questions, Serafina?
Of course you may, but I can't guarantee the answers will be free.
Serafina, what can you tell me about Lily's nephew?
Her nephew? I didn't know she had a nephew. Lily didn't talk much about her family, as you can probably imagine.
You're not lying to me, are you?
I have nothing to hide from you.
Except maybe the truth. But I don't think we have what we need to make her talk. If there even is anything that would make her talk.
Thank you for your time.
Of course, my dear.
Okay. Let's go talk to... You know what? We're going to call it an episode there. When we come back next week, we're going to go talk to Annabelle at the coffee house about what occurred with her. And we'll see, now that we're sort of getting some glean into the mind of this justice killer and who it possibly is. So, if you like what you watched, hit that like and subscribe button down below. Tell your family, tell your friends. If you have any suggestions, no spoilers, put them in the comments below because I will read them. And with that, I will catch you next Monday for another episode of Lamplight City. Peace.
Thanks for watching.
If you want to see more, check out the playlist above, or watch what YouTube tells you to on the right. Oh yeah, and subscribe.